Namaste and welcome to day 2 of 30 days of Appwrite. We'll start day 2 by discussing the first steps on Appwrite journey. Well, the first step is to install Appwrite. As Appwrite being a set of Docker microservices, all you need is a Docker and Docker Compose in order to install and run Appwrite. So Appwrite runs on any system that supports Docker, including Mac OS, Linux, and Windows. Right now I'm using Linux Ubuntu system to show how to install Appwrite, but you can continue along with any other system. And wherever there is a difference of installation process between the operating system I'm using and other operating systems, I will let you know. The first step is installing Docker. The steps to install Docker will not be covered in this tutorial. I'll just quickly show where you can go to get the information about how you can install Docker properly on your system. So you can go to docs.docker.com engine/install/ubuntu. So this Ubuntu is right now my system. So you'll find the installation notes for different. So Docker Desktop, Docker Hub, you'll find the installation scripts for your operating system. So if you go to install, you can choose the platform: Docker Desktop for Mac, Docker Desktop for Windows, and for server we have like Ubuntu package, Fedora, Debian, CentOS for Linux, for other Linux distribution, and there are tons of information that you can use to easily install Docker on your system. And you can find lots of tutorials regarding how to install Docker and what Docker is. So let's go ahead. For Linux, I'll be using this convenient script in order to install Docker. So let me copy this and paste in my terminal. Okay, could not, what's going on? URL is not found. So first, so this is my fresh installation of Ubuntu. So there are certain missing things. So let me run this. Now I have getdocker.sh. I can now run getdocker.sh in order to install Docker. So this will take some time. I will get back to you once this is completed. Okay, so my Docker installation has completed, and there are some information, right? If you want to run Docker as non-privileged user, consider setting up Docker daemon in rootless mode for your user. Visit this to run daemon as fully privileged service but granting non-root user access. Refer to this doc. So let me refer to this doc. Okay, sudo group add Docker. I need to create Docker group. Okay, it already exists. That's great. Now I can add the current user to the Docker group. Got it. Log out and log back in so that your group membership is reevaluated. On Linux, you can also run the following command to activate group changes. So let's try this. Okay, let me clear. Now, in order to verify Docker installation, we can run docker run hello world. So it's running. Unable to find the hello world latest locally, so it will pull the hello world image from Docker Hub. So it's running. Hello from Docker. The message shows your installation appears to be working correctly. So if you have issues installing Docker, you can visit the official documentation, or you can also join Appwrite Discord and ask for help. The link is provided in the description. So now that Docker has been installed, let's continue on with the Appwrite setup. So in order to install Appwrite, let's go to appwrite.io/docs installation. So Appwrite installation docs. Let me zoom in so that it's clear. So first you need to install Docker. So we have already installed Docker. We need at least 1 core CPU, 2 GB of RAM, and all this stuff. So we are okay. So installing Appwrite, here is a difference between different operating systems. So for Unix, Unix include Linux, Mac OS, and any other Unix compatible system. So this script can be run on any Unix compatible system including Mac OS in order to install Appwrite. The current Appwrite version is 0.7.2. And for Windows system, if you have a Windows based system, you can use either this script from command prompt or this script from PowerShell, whichever is easier for you. And you can install Docker Toolbox that uses VirtualBox to run Appwrite on a virtual machine, or you can install Docker Desktop or with subsystem Linux subsystem. So at least you need to have Docker installed. So let's copy the Unix script as I'm using Ubuntu. Copy, and I'd like to install Appwrite on my documents folder. So let's go to documents. So you should be on the folder where you would like to install Appwrite before running the script. I missed something. Copy again. Okay, just paste. We are using Docker run for installation as well. Hit enter. So these images are not found locally, so this requires quite a few images to be pulled from the server. So it will take quite some time for the first time because we don't have any image, and this being a fresh installation of Ubuntu, I don't have any images, so it will take quite some time to pull all these images and set up. But first it will pull the Appwrite image, and then we need to answer few questions in order to continue the setup. So I'll get back to you once this completes. Okay, the installation script is now running. First it will ask for default server HTTP port. Let's keep it 80. For HTTPS 443, that's fine. Choose a secret key to make sure backup. So this is local installation. I'll just choose a simple key. Okay. Appwrite hostname, as we are in development mode locally, default, fine. Now it's running. So it will download Docker Compose file that is required for Appwrite, and it will run Docker Compose up that will start all the required Appwrite service stack. So it will take quite some time because there is none of the images are available locally. So let's wait for this to complete and I'll get back to you. But before that, I will go quickly through some possible error scenarios that you might run into and how you can solve them. So first is, you need to make sure you have enough disk space and RAM to run Appwrite. Enough disk space in the sense you need to download a few images, Docker images like MariaDB and InfluxDB and all those that need to be downloaded and stored on your system, as well as you need to have enough RAM. Appwrite up until Appwrite 0.7.2 activates ClamAV antivirus for Appwrite storage by default, and it requires more than 1 GB of RAM itself. So for Appwrite installation, you require at least 2 GB of RAM, but we recommend having 4 GB of RAM to run it smoothly in production. But if you have issues during installation, you can quickly go back and disable ClamAV. I have another video where I show Appwrite issues. There I have shown how we can disable ClamAV and continue with the installation properly. Also, another common error scenario that we might run into is the Docker Hub pull limit. So if you pull lots of images from Docker Hub, it might limit your request and you might be unable to run Appwrite properly, because once Appwrite is running, you also need to pull the images for Appwrite cloud functions. So in order to overcome that error, you can create a Docker Hub account and log in with your account in the terminal just by running docker login command and providing your username and password. And you can also visit the official Docker documentation regarding this. The link will be provided in the description below. Installation has completed. So Appwrite installed successfully. So right now, if I run docker ps, I should see the Appwrite containers running. So you can see we have Appwrite container, different Appwrite containers that are run from Appwrite image itself. So we have few different workers and containers running from Appwrite service itself, Appwrite image itself, and we have Redis container, we have ClamAV for antivirus, we have Telegraph, we have MariaDB, and we have InfluxDB. This is how we can create a fresh installation. And if you check in the current folder, there is a folder called Appwrite. This was the folder created by Appwrite installation. And if we list inside Appwrite, we have Docker Compose and then .env file for our environment variables. We'll go through this in the next episode. Right now, I'd like to show one other thing. So if you have previously installed Appwrite and new version of Appwrite is released, so how you can upgrade. The upgrading process is properly described in the Appwrite docs. If you look at the sidebar, you can find the upgrade link here, and if you go to upgrade documentation, you can read it, but it's quite easy. What you need to do is, first, locally, you need to get inside the folder where you have your Appwrite folder. So we are in the correct path. We should run the new installation script from the parent folder of the Appwrite installation. Okay, so we can run the new script from here. So right now I can paste this again. Okay, and once you run the new script, it will override the Docker Compose files and other things. Every new installation script will have similar installation prompts, so you can quickly go through this. And for secret API key, you need to choose the same key, otherwise your storage files might get corrupted. Fine. So this will run the installation script again for the newer version. And once you have successfully installed newer version of Appwrite using the newest installation script from the folder where you have previously installed Appwrite, then you can run the migration script in order to properly migrate your existing data. However, it is always advised to make a backup before doing upgrades because anything might happen. It's always safe to keep a backup copy of your data before making any updates. So, once you have successfully installed the newer version, in order to upgrade, you need to get into the Appwrite folder. So let me quickly install Docker Compose. We can run Docker Compose Appwrite migrate. So this being a fresh installation, we don't have anything to migrate. Migrating 0 out of 0, data migration completed. Next thing, how we can check the health of our Appwrite installation, making sure it is working. So Appwrite comes with a default Docker command that we can run in similar way. Docker Compose exec Appwrite Docker. See, if we run the Docker, we can see that running Appwrite Docker for version 0.7.2, checking for production. Hostname has no public suffix, that we are in development local machine, so this is fine. So we have a unique secret key for encryption. App environment is set for production. Abuse protection is enabled. Console access limits are not disabled. This means anyone who have access can sign up in your Appwrite console. You can disable this using environment variables. We'll look into those in the later sessions. HTTP force option is enabled. Database is connected, queue is connected, cache is connected, antivirus connected, statsd connected, influxdb connected. However, SMTP is disconnected. We'll learn more about SMTPs in the other sessions. We already have a timeline. You can watch the timeline videos for what will be covered in which day. So all the volumes are readable and writable properly. Uploads volume has enough free space. Cache volume has enough free space, so we have 13 gigabytes of free space. You are running the latest version of Appwrite. That's awesome. So this is the Docker command, and whenever there are issues, we can also look at the logs of various Appwrite containers. So we can look at the Appwrite logs using Appwrite. So if we look at the Appwrite logs, we can see that everything is working. TLS certificate, localhost in 30 seconds. So server started successfully. Master PID manager, worker 2 started, worker 1 started. So it's working properly. There are not any errors. Now we can access our Appwrite installation from localhost. First, as this is local machine with self-signed certificate, we are getting this error, so we can quickly go to advanced and accept the risk and continue. However, if you are in a production machine and you have set up proper domain, you should have a valid certificate that Appwrite generates using Let's Encrypt. So this is the Appwrite installation. We'll look at how we can sign up, and we'll look at different functionalities of Appwrite console in the next episode. One more thing, in any cloud service provider, if you have a Linux virtual machine, you can follow the same process we followed here in the local machine in order to install Appwrite. It's easy as that. I also have a 10 minutes tutorial on how you can deploy Appwrite in DigitalOcean with some production tips. You can visit that as well. Thank you everyone for watching this tutorial. We have completed the day 2 of Appwrite. Now we know how to install Appwrite, and we have a local installation of Appwrite that we will explore in the coming days. If you want to learn yourself, continue yourself learning more about Appwrite and its services, you can visit the official documentation, as well as you can find tons of demos and playground in Appwrite's GitHub. So if you go to github.com/Appwrite, you can find tons of repository with examples and tutorials, as well as many other awesome things. Also, to learn more about 30 days of Appwrite, you can go to 30days.appwrite.io. Thank you. See you again in the next episode.